All right, so we're going to get started lying on our back. Have your tennis balls within reach. If you have the inflatable, have that in reach also. And you'll start off lying on your back with your knees bent. We'll just start off with some breath practices. So take a moment and feel through the feet, feel the alignment of the feet. And make any adjustments with the feet. If as you're observing the alignment, you notice that maybe one foot is slightly turned out, and this is very common, that we have some tendencies that we've settled into, and unless we're looking in a mirror or really observing with fine detail, we may not notice them. And I also invite you to experiment with where you'd like your arms, how far apart you'd like them. I will suggest having the palms up so that the arm bones can relax into the shoulder sockets. And then using the floor as feedback. We started with the feet, just noticing if there's more weight in one foot or if one foot is turned out. Now let your attention travel to the back of the hips, so along the glutes. And notice if one hip feels like it's more relaxed into the floor. And now let your attention travel to the lower back arch. And let's take a moment here to just roll the hips forward, feel that arch get bigger, and then roll the hips back, feel the lower back touch the floor. And again, just flow back and forth. Comparing the two sides, noticing if one side moves a little more easily than the other. And then rest in a neutral position. And now notice the mid back. Now, before we started recording, we talked about lower back and specifically twists going to one side rather than the other, feeling better. And then also some mid back discomfort. So just notice here, notice the back of the ribs. And do you feel one side is maybe slightly lifted from the floor? And just take a few breaths using the exhale to relax the side that may be a little lifted from the floor. And now let your attention travel up to the shoulders. Then we had requests for the shoulders. Comparing left and right. If you notice one side is a little more suspended than the other, again, use that exhale as a cue to let go of any muscle holdings that might be suspending that body part. And now let your head just gently roll towards the left. And drop the chin towards I guess just a little bit more towards the chest. You're still rolling to the left. We're just trying to invite the stretch to explore different areas on the right side of the neck. Now imagine the breath fills up the right side of the neck. And intentionally keep that right shoulder heavy. That's your anchor. And the neck stretches away from it. You can relax the eyes. And then you release the chin up. Gently roll the head back to center. Taking a moment, observing anything there is to observe between the left and the right side. And then let the head roll to the right. Notice where you feel the stretch. And then drop the chin a little bit more towards the chest. Lift the chin, come back to the center. Now let the arms come along your sides. Now the palms facing down. And we'll do some flowing bridge poses. So again, notice where the weight is on the feet. On your inhale, press into the feet, lift the hips up. As you exhale, lower the hips down. You're welcome to add the arms. The arms reach up and back as the hips rise. And then exhale, you lower the hips down. Just 2 more of those. And notice if as you repeat this, the body warms up and you can lift a little higher, the arms stretch a little bit more. And then lower down. All right, so we talked in the very beginning about exploring some precursors to jumping, which would include lifting and dropping the heels. So we'll do that here, where we don't have all of the weight on our feet. So I invite you just lift your heels up, so the balls of the feet are on the floor, and then drop them down. Lift, drop, lift, drop. Just do that a few times. Lift and drop. And see if you can drop the heels straight back so that they're not turning to the right or the left. And invite the jiggle in the legs. Again, this is really good for the lymph. And it's great for the calf muscles. Just 2 more of these. And then you pause. And notice if you feel a little tingling, a little bit of energy vibrating through the legs after that. All right, you're going to take your 2 tennis balls. If you have the inflatable, this I find just makes the action a little bit more flowy. You can still do this if you don't have the inflatable. You're going to take the balls and you're going to put them on the fleshy part of the shoulder. So I'm demonstrating on my back where I'm going to put them. The other thing the ball does is it reduces how much body weight you have on the balls too. So if you find that the balls are a little too hard, the sensation is more than you want, having the ball underneath the hips can be helpful. So you slide here for a moment and you just breathe. And if you find that when I cue to lift the hips, it's too much, then you just stay right here. If you're ready, the hips lift and you slide the ball under the hips. So this is lower than the lower back. So it's on the tailbone. And now you can take your arms up towards the ceiling. And it's like you're apple picking. Maybe you reach the arms towards the wall behind you. And as you reach, the arms are rolling along the balls. The balls may be rolling a little bit too. And the placement of the balls, I invite you to be guided by positive sensations. And you might find that the balls move a little bit and you need to reposition them. Now you're welcome to keep the arms up doing whatever it is you want to do. And you're just gonna jiggle. So you're if you can visualize the bobblehead dolls, again, this is a lot easier if you have the ball underneath the lower back. You can still do this without the ball. So I don't know if you can see what I'm doing. We can talk about this in the end after the recording if you like. Just a couple more breaths here. All right, if this is feeling really good, for some people, this you can't get enough of it, so stay here. The next point could be a little more intense. So if you're not up for intense, you stay right where you are. The next point, come up, is going to be right at the shoulder blade. You want it on the fleshy area. And we're just going to do sustained pressure to start. And now, if you like, if you're craving some movement, I'm just rolling my hips side to side. So again, this is a lot easier to do if you have a ball. And then we'll just pause. Slide the balls out. Lift the hips so you can remove the ball. So hips up. The balls are going to go. If you were wearing jeans, you can see I'm just putting it in the top of my pocket. This can, for some people, it can be a trigger point to release muscle holding patterns. And so we just pause here and we breathe. Now, if this is feeling overly sensitive, you can try desensitizing it by contracting your glutes. You can try this anyways, even if it doesn't feel like it's too much. So you squeeze the glutes and then relax. You do this 3 times. Squeeze and release. Squeeze and release. As you breathe in, the body fills with breath. As you breathe out, the body sinks into the balls a little bit deeper. So we're using the breath as a tool for the body to release, let go, and invite the balls a little bit deeper. Now, if you like, just as we did on the ball before, a little hip switch side to side. So the balls are going to travel across the top of the glutes. And again, you may need to use your hands to reposition them, especially if you have slippery pants. And then we pause. Release the balls, arms come out into a T, palms are up. Heel toe the feet wider than your hips. And then let the knees drop towards the left. Inhale back through center. Let the knees drop to the right. Now, you could, if this is a lot of strain, or if it's any strain on the top knee, you could slide the inflatable ball under there to support it. And just with your breath, let the knees flow side to side. And then if you've noticed that the lower back feels better twisting one way to the other, just notice here. Whether it's more in the lower body twisting or the upper body twisting that gives you this relief. And feel free to linger. If you have the knees to one side and you're like, oh, this is a good stretch. I bet if I held it here, I'd feel a release. Then please hold it there. Invite the release. And just a couple more breaths. So if you're uneven on the sides in terms of how much time you've dedicated to one over the other, then take the time to even them out here. Take the next few breaths. And come back to the center. Draw the knees in and let's make some circles in the opposite direction. Nice little wake up for the hips. And you might notice that you're back in that sort of hips roll forward, the lower back arches, hips come back, the lower back flattens. You can reverse direction when you're ready. Let's pause here, lower the left foot, cross the right leg over for a figure four. Let's take a few breaths, keeping the left foot on the floor. Just encouraging that right knee away from you. And trying to find softness. And let's go to the other side when you're ready. Back to the center. Draw the right knee in, clasp behind the thigh. Let's extend and then bend. Waking up the back of the leg. If you haven't done a lot of movement yet this morning, you might be able to observe the leg waking up as you repeat this. The extension gets just a little bit more. And then pause, extend the left leg long. Rebend the right knee, and let's take it across the body. You can let that right knee rest on the ball if you've got it handy, or a block. And again, if you were noticing lower back discomfort that was relieved with twists, just notice this twist and this direction. And any of the sensations that come with it. Go back to the center, rehug the knee. Let's switch sides. Right foot on the floor, clasping behind the left thigh. And we do the extend and bend. You stretch and you reset. You stretch the back of the leg, even the foot. So draw the toes towards the wall behind you. And just notice you might feel that stretch in the arch of the foot and even the Achilles. Talked a bit about the importance of feet and supple feet. And then next time the leg is extended, pause here. Extend the right leg long. And then hug the knee, take it across the body. And observing, comparing left and right. And let's come back to the center, hugging the knees. This time, circles with the knees together. So this you might find is a little bit more pinpointed to the lower back rather than the hips. You might find yourself getting thrown off balance a little bit. So it's kind of interesting to just notice which muscles kick in if you circle a little too wide and you begin to lose your balance. And reverse when you're ready. And then you pause. Now we're gonna roll to our left side. And we're gonna set up for that high inner thigh. So you take your 2 blocks. One is as a pillow for your head. You're on your left side. The other one is like a little fig leaf. Left leg is straight. The right leg, you're going to try to get this ball as high up as you can. I'm actually going to do this a little bit lower. As high up in the thigh as you can. Now, if this is particularly tight, you're going to lift the leg up, tension, 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 and then release. 2 more times. You lift the leg up, you engage. You engage the bottom leg too. And then you release.
Where's the ball, the inflatable?
Sorry, no inflatable.
Oh, okay.
Sorry, I misspoke. So 2 blocks. One for the head, one for the ball that's going into the inner thigh. If this is too much, you could use the inflatable instead of this targeted little ball.
Wait, I don't understand what we're doing. Where is the little ball?
So I have this block.
Yeah.
Like a little fig leaf. My right leg is coming over and I'm putting this ball as high up in my inner thigh as I can.
Okay.
And then I drape my leg over.
Okay. All right. Got it.
Yeah. And so you have the contract, relax, which can sometimes desensitize it. Now, if you want to move on, you could do extend the leg and then bend it. And some of these sensations can be quite dramatic. So, this is a great opportunity to just respect sort of the sensations that don't serve you and back off. And then you can move the ball down so it's not so high. So you have another point here. You can lift up and then lower. We'll just be here another moment. And then same thing. I'm rolling the leg. So the ball's rolling across horizontally. Call this cross fibering.
Don't you mean the the block, not the ball?
With what?
The ball's on top of the block, is that what you're doing?
Yep, the ball, so let me just show you.
Okay.
The ball's on top of the block.
Oh, okay.
And then imagine this is my leg, and my leg, this is my thigh.
Okay,
Sorry.
gotcha. Okay.
So there.
Get that.
What's that?
I totally didn't get it, but now I do.
You got it. All right. Let me see. I'm watching you. All right. All right. You guys ready for the other side?
Sure.
Yeah.
Have you had enough of that? All right, let's just take a moment and pause though and just notice any after effects. So you just get rid of the ball, get rid of the blocks. And come onto your back. And just notice any difference in the, can you notice any difference in the two legs?
Yeah, my inner thigh feels exercised.
All right, let's do the other side. So I'll explain the setup again. Try to use a little bit more explanation. So I think we all have the pillow, right?
Yes.
Laying on our right side. Now, the bottom leg is straight, and then the top, and then the other block goes like a fig leaf. And then the ball, I have it as high up as I can on my thigh. And then the ball rests on the block. So I don't think I said that. I was just talking about putting the ball as high up on your thigh, but I wasn't really telling you where you put your thigh then. So then thigh comes across the block. And my foot is resting on the floor. But then to activate, I'm going to lift and squeeze. It increases the sensations, but then I let it go relax. And I do that 3 times. And I find it's helpful if I engage and even lift the bottom leg up too. It helps me contract this leg when I contract the other leg. You just do that 3 times. And then you can, straighten and rebend. You can roll the thigh up and down so the ball is rolling across those muscles.
Got it.
And then you could move it down a little bit. Once that particular area has had enough. Everyone doing all right on this side?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right, and when you're ready, you can release that and just take a moment on your back. Observing the reconstruction of your other thigh. All right, let's come to table just for a couple of brief shoulder warm-ups. Toes are turned under. And then you're just going to press back to your child's pose. And then back to table. We'll just do that 3 times. Getting ready to thread the needle. Take the left arm up, maybe make some circles with it in both directions. And then a nice opening up. You reach that left arm up towards the ceiling, thread it underneath the right, and you come onto the left ear. All right, so this, it's a nice shoulder stretch, but it's also a twist. Notice the left hip. Is it following to the right? Is it pulling to the right? Draw that left hip to the left and just notice the association, the muscles that are associated with that. So that's our anchor. Our left hip is our anchor. Don't let it move. You might find you get a nice little stretch there. And when you're ready, unthread the needle. And come back to your table. Other side. You can start with the right shoulder, just making some circles here. And then inhale, reach that right arm up. And then thread it underneath the left arm. And then establish the right hip as the anchor. Pull it back. And unthread the needle. And back to center. All right, let's come to standing. We'll do a quick little rollout of our feet first. You're grabbing your ball. You just place it underneath the balls of the feet, and we're just going to do a little press and release. So as you press your weight onto the ball, you want to encourage the toes to spread. So you're encouraging those bones on the bottom of the feet to get spacious. And then we're going to slide the ball to the front of the heel and then just press and release. So we're just trying to get some hydration into the muscles and the fascia before we start our standing poses. And then just a little bit of a rollout here along the arch, the inner arch, and then the outer arch, and then a little freestyle. And then prepare for the other side, but take a moment to just pause and notice if there's any difference in the 2 feet. When you're ready, we do the left foot, press and release. You can always hold on to a chair or something. Let's take the heel, you press down and lift up. So I'm transferring my whole body weight. I put my body weight on and then I take my body weight off. Body weight onto my left foot and then I switch back to my right. And then roll out inner arch, outer arch, freestyle. You may notice that the 2 feet had different areas that spoke with you. And then you pause. All right, so we'll get into our little pre-jumping. So balls of the feet. So just start a little lift to the heels and lower. Lift, just a ½ inch. Lift, lift, and then you decide. So I'm encouraging my heels to really fall so that I get this whole sort of reverberation through my spine and my neck. That might not feel right for you. I just want to check in. Does this feel all right for everyone?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. So if you like, you could lift them a little bit higher. So I just had us like a quarter of an inch. So you could lift and lower. And let the shoulders sort of whew. So how much jiggling? And you don't have to lift very high to focus on the letting go. And if you want to add a sound, you could do a ha 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 ha. There you go. You know, that reminds me, I saw my little grandson this weekend, and I was just encouraging him to go to sleep. He was in his crib and I was rubbing his back, and all of a sudden he let out this sigh and then fell asleep. And it's just such a, you know, babies are so natural with their, you know, their displaying of sort of natural body sounds.
Yep.
All right. So let's do a little flow. Blocks would be handy. We're gonna do a low lunge flow because I find that this is really great for the hip flexors. And I find that when I do this in the morning, I feel it throughout the whole day in a positive way. Just taking the time to do this very gentle and quick warm up in the morning. So you come to the front of your space. On your inhale, reach the arms up. On your exhale, fold halfway. Press into the legs and use that to lengthen the spine. So tailbone goes back, top of the head goes forward, nice long spine. Hands come to the blocks and the left leg comes back and you come on the knee. So this is where it's really handy to have blocks. If you don't have blocks, you can put your hands on chairs. Or if the blocks aren't enough, if you feel like you want to be higher, then 2 chairs is a really good option. And then lengthen the front leg. Nice hamstring straight. So my leg's not all the way straight because I'm not there yet. I need to warm it up a little. And then when I bend my knee, I get the hip flexor stretch. And I'm just going to flow with my breath. And each time I repeat this, I go a little deeper. Because I'm following the message cueing. I'm not forcing it. I'm allowing it to open. Now, next time the knee's bent, just pause here. Take the right knee back to meet the left. And then take the left foot forward. We'll do the same thing here. Nice pause when the knee's bent. Take the left knee back to meet the right. Blocks to the side. Come into your puppy pose or Anahata Asana. Hips stay high. And this can be a nice sort of mid-back stretch. Think about softening through the armpits, hips draw back. And it's like there's a magnet on your chest that's being drawn to your mat. And then slither into your Sphinx pose. Again, this is another really great pose. Just stretch the hip flexors, the lower back. Now think about drawing the elbows back towards the hips. As the elbows draw back, the chest draws forward. Can you draw the bottom tips of your shoulder blades towards each other so the upper shoulders broaden? Just hold for a few more breaths here. Watch the body open. As the hip flexors in the front find ease, it may allow you to come a little higher and find slightly more arch in the lower back, but we're not pushing it. We're just watching. We're watching the cues and we're following them. And then release all the way down. Make a pillow for your forehead. And windshield wiper the legs. All right, release that. Press your way up to table. Either downward dog or child's pose. And let's meet up at the back of the mat in a nice deep knee forward fold. Thighs are supporting the forearms and the lower back. Just begin straightening the legs and then bending them. And when the legs are straight, pause, hands on the hips, and then inhale, you rise. Take a moment. Again, invite space in the front of the hips. Breathe into the front of the hips. Imagine the front of the body lifting. It's an energy that lifts it. It circles the top of the head. And then there's a downward energy along the back of the body that draws the shoulder blades down, the tailbone down, and the heels down. And then make your way towards the front of your mat. Inhale, reach up, gentle back bend. Exhale, fold forward. Press into the legs, nice lunge. On your exhale, left leg steps back, knee drops down. When you're ready, you come into this little mini vinyasa. And you may want to try lifting the ball of the foot. If you keep the foot down, you get a nice stretch up the shin. If you lift the toe up, notice you get more of a stretch in the calf. You just kind of explore, play around with that. Next time the knees bent, pause. Inhale the left arm up. That's going to create more of a stretch on that left hip flexor. Pause here and then arch to your right. Inhale back up. Hands on the blocks. If it's available, lift the back knee. And straighten and bend the front. Now, if it doesn't work for you to lift the back knee, you keep it on the ground and just repeat what we did the first round. And then you pause. Left hand on the block. Inhale, sweep the right arm up. You're twisting to the right. Back to the center. Lower the back knee. And take the right knee back to meet it. Left leg comes forward. Same thing as the first side. Little mini vinyasa. Experiment with flexing the foot or pointing it. Noticing how it changes the sensations. And pause with the knee bent. Inhale the right arm up. Notice how that affects the hip flexor on the right side. And then stretch to the left. Come back through center. Back knee lifts. And you flow here. Pause. Right hand on a block. Inhale, twist to the left. Exhale back to center. Throw the back knee down. The left foot up to meet it. And puppy pose. Anahata Asana. Melt the center of the chest. Slither into Sphinx pose. Now, if that first round we did felt particularly good and you want more, you stay here in your Sphinx pose. You want to do a strengthening practice. Toes curl under. You can lift up just the belly, maybe just the hips, maybe a full-on forearm plank. I invite you, whatever you've chosen for a pose, scan your body. Is there a part of your body that's working too hard? Is there a part of your body that's not working that should be working? Release to crocodile when you're ready. Windshield wiper the legs. Release the windshield. Push up through table, downward dog or child. Meet up at the back of the mat. Nice deep forward fold. When you're ready, hands come to the hips. And you make your way up. Awesome. Very nice. Okay, let's come to the front of the mat. Take another sequence before we head to the floor. Inhale, reach the arms up, gentle back bend. Exhale, step the left leg back for warrior one. And straighten the front knee. As you bend it, observe the stretch on the front of the left leg, that left hip flexor. Let's just start with the left arm. Inhale the left arm up. Now, as you do that, notice if the ribs flare out. And let's try it again. Intentionally keep the ribs drawn together as you bring that left arm up. And then you can add the right arm if you like. And then flow in and out of this. Maybe a little deeper each time. And then you pause. Right hand on the right hip, left arm reaches over to the right. Once again, this time we're getting into the QL, but you also feel a nice stretch on that psoas. Back to the center. Both hands on the hips. Set the back foot up to meet that. Inhale. Arms up. Exhale, fold halfway. Press into the legs, nice ones. Right leg steps back. Warrior one. Straighten the front knee. As you bend the knee, watch the stretch come into that right hip. Inhale the right arm up. Add the left arm. And flow in and out. Pause. The left hand on the left hip. And then that right arm arches over. Back to center, hands on the hips. Step the back foot up to meet. All right, you guys ready for the floor? Or you want one more standing sequence?
I'm ready for the floor.
All right, let's come to the floor. And just have your props nearby. Let's start off with a variation of fish pose. So I'm going to demonstrate with the blocks. If you don't have your blocks, you could do a rolled up blanket and put it just underneath the shoulder blades. Or if the blocks are too hard, they don't feel comfortable, you could use the rolled up blanket. So the first block is going the bottom of the block is with the bottom of the shoulder blades, and then the head rests on the top block. And then the position of the top block is so the neck feels comfortable. Now I'm going to take this one up a little higher because I just want more of a lift. And I'll get more of a stretch in my neck. That may or may not work for you. All right, so I'm just going to take a peek. This is for our mid-back opening. And you could try it with legs straight. You could try it with the knees bent. Just try it on. Notice how extending or bending the knees affects the sensations. And then choose the one that feels best for you. As you breathe in, you may notice the breath more so in the chest. Allow that to stretch Stretch across the collarbones. Stretch across the front of the armpits. Let that in-breath stretch you from the inside out here. And then on the exhale, allow the back of the body to melt into the blocks. Let the arm bones melt into the shoulder sockets. Just create a visual in your mind as you breathe in. There's that breath. Letting that gentle stretch from the inside out. Undoing the shortness from driving or carrying things, or it's really most of the things we do, working on computers or using your phone, all of that is tightening the muscles across this upper part of the front of our body. So let the breath undo it. And so the breath creates the space. And then you exhale, and the exhale sort of cements that spaciousness into your muscle memory. As you exhale, you just relax into the space. You're ready. You want to just very gingerly come out of this. Usually it's better to bend the knees first and maybe even roll out that area where you had whatever prop you were using. You just slide the props out and then you come back onto your back, propless. Notice the after effect. There might be some residual space there. The arms come out to the sides and the feet go wide. And let the knees drop side to side, just as we did at the beginning of our practice. And notice if there's any change in what you observe. If it feels all right, just let the knees rest to the right. And again, let that in-breath create the space. Let the out-breath cement that new muscle memory of spaciousness. And when you're ready, let's let the knees flow to the other side. And come back up to the center, heel toe your feet towards hip distance. Draw the right knee in, extend the left leg. Take a couple of breaths here. Once again, the in-breath Create space. And the exhale. Whew. Let that right leg be heavy. Let it relax in the hip socket. Let the back of the body melt into the mat. And then that right knee comes across the body. Maybe it lands on a block. And just notice how this twist feels. Inhale, creating space. Yeah, probably across the pectoral muscles, across the front of the right shoulder. And the exhale, and just cement, solidify those new muscle patterns of spaciousness. Inhale back up to center, give the knee a little hug. Extend the leg long, extend the arms long. This full body stretch. Hug the left knee. Let that left knee go across the body to the right. When you're ready, make your way back up to center. Extend both legs long, another full body stretch. Any final movements you'd like to make before Shavasana? Your next breath to be a little longer, a little deeper. And invite gentle movements. Maybe the wiggling of your toes or fingers. When you're ready, ever so slowly make your way to your side. Taking a moment of self-reflection and appreciation for your body and all that it does for you. When you're ready, you can make your way up to seated. If you'd like to join me in a chant of Om, you take a deep breath in. Namaste. You guys.